Okay, so you guys came to the sex week. Yeah, thank you. I know, right? I know, I swear they totally planned that. And listen, I promise I will do my very best to make this as least awkward as possible. I really will. I'm not going to have any graphics. I'm not going to have any handouts. As tempted as I was, and I'll get to that later, we're just going to lay it out right out there. But then I was thinking about it. No, I feel like you need to listen. You got it. Why is sex so awkward to talk about in church? Why? Oh my gosh, we talk about sex all the time, right? You talk about it with your friends, but there's something about sex in church that is just so awkward. And I think the reason for that is the church. I think it's our fault. We are so careful. You know, if we talk to kids about dating and birth control and sex, like they're just gonna go out and have it. So the answer is, let's not talk about them and they're not gonna have it. That logic doesn't line up at all. Like, the church should be the place where you're able to talk about sex 100%. You're able to say, like, yeah, I messed that up. Never mind. And you know how your mind goes places and you're like, shut your mouth, and that was the Holy Spirit, like, nope. Okay, and here's a great example. So I went to a Christian school from 6th grade to 12th grade. And I know this is gonna shock you public school kids, but Christian school kids have sex too. I know, it blows you away, right? Well, it's true, and I'm gonna give you an example. So when I was in, I don't know, how old are you in 10th grade, like 16? Yeah, so I was in 10th grade, and one of my best friends got pregnant. And the school totally kicked her out. And I was so upset, because I knew so many of my friends were having sex. But because this girl got pregnant, the school narrowed in on her and was like, no, you're out of here, you're not living a Christian life. That was such an opportunity that the school missed, to not come alongside and be like, hey, how can we help you? This has to be so scary. You're 16 and you're having a baby. But they literally were like, yeah, see ya. Again, the school could have changed this policy. This was clearly a very long time ago. But I think the church, we mess up when we're not able to talk about topics like spiritual warfare, or we can't talk about demons, then we're going to have to admit that there are some. Or we can't talk about sex because then we have to admit our kids might be having it. La, 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 la. No, I don't want to go there. So today, we're going there. I know, but yeah. Okay. Question for you, and this is like a safe question. I'm not going to ask any like really awkward questions, I don't think, unless God like gives one, then we'll ask it. But how many of you had sex education either in middle school or high school at your school? Like, that's a painless question. How many didn't? Private school? What school? Private school? Okay, what's Catholic school? Yeah. So again, here's what my takeaways are from when my kids' experiences are with sex ed. In Springer Middle School, Tommy came home and was like, guess what I learned today? Okay, it's a visual. Ready? This is my private square. Please do not touch me there. That's what his takeaway was. I mean, the girls obviously had a larger square. His square was a little smaller. But not, no, I mean, like, no. Okay. Delete. Okay, stop it. Okay, high school. Huh? It was like from here, as the girls were here. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that was like his takeaway at Springer. Brandywine High School. My daughter came home and she's like, I failed my health quiz today. I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, so they asked us the 10 steps to applying a condom. She's like, 10. I came up with 3. And I'm like, girl, if you can have 3, like I said, we're good. But again, this is what the public schools, this is their takeaway. And I'm not saying you shouldn't learn the physical aspects of sex. You should. Because I can't tell you how many of you in my small group and in the small group that just graduated learned everything they know from Google. And let me tell you, some of it is messed up. Some of the questions they had, you're just like, what? No. Oh, no. So it's good to learn about the physical aspects. But here's the point of today's lesson. Sex is so much more than physical. Sex is so much more than physical. I'm going to give 3 points. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. They're rhetorical to prove my point. Okay, why is it when a child is sexually abused and they get older and they realize what happened to them, why can't they just shake it off and move on? Why can't they be like, oh, yeah, I was little and some nasty old guy was touching me, and you know what, that's in the past, I'm just going to move on. But they don't. They carry it around for life, possibly. Why? Because sex isn't just a physical act. Why is it when a woman is raped, she doesn't report it, but when a woman is beaten, she does? If sex is just physical, why wouldn't she report it? Because sex is more than just a physical act. Sex, it's a part of us. And let me tell you, the statistics right now are 1 in 5 females in the United States have been or will be sexually abused, and 1 in 20 males. So if you're sitting there thinking, I am the only one, you're not. If you're sitting there thinking, I'm saying if this is you, that you don't understand, like you don't know what it was like, I do. And I also know God's the healer. And while he may not remove all the memories, he can take away the pain, and he can take away the sting that it caused. So if you are a victim of rape or abuse, talk to me. Talk to your small group leader. If you're like, I'm not talking to you, I know you, I'll hook you up with a counselor for free that will never even tell me if you ever go to them. There is help available because God is the Redeemer, and he can take nasty, sad, awful things that Satan is the originator of and heal them 100%. Okay, 3rd thing. When we moved into our new house, we got like, oh my gosh, we had no money. So we had like all this hand-me-down furniture. You know how like there wasn't Facebook Marketplace back then, but it was like, oh, look on the curb, like that chair looks pretty nice. Like, let's bring it in the house. So we had this blue chair, and my husband called it our beaten down by life chair. Because y'all, I'm not kidding. People would just come in and sit in that chair and start telling me stuff. And I'm not talking like friends. This is like, hi, can Susie come over for a play date? I know I've met you once in the carpool line, but can you drop her off? And the mom would come to drop her off, and then I swear she'd see the blue chair, and she'd sit in it and start telling me about her life. And my husband would walk in and just see her and be like, yep, that's right. I prayed with, I can't even, hundreds of people through my life. Why is it when they start a sentence with, okay, so this is something I've never told anyone before, I know it is not going to be, when I was in high school, I was at the mall and I backed my car into another car and I didn't leave a note. That's not what they're going to talk about. They're going to talk about sex. They're going to talk about rape or abuse or choices they made that they regret. Why? Because sex is not just physical. It's not just physical, and yet we treat it as a culture as it's nothing more than a physical act. We live in a culture that wants to make sex surface and physical. We live in a culture that, oh my gosh, it was spring break, I don't even know her name, I was drunk, yeah, she got pregnant, I said I'd give her an abortion, but she was like, no man, it's my body, my choice, so I didn't, so I left. In a like, let it go culture, it doesn't matter. Why? Why? The lesson didn't give me the answer to that question. I'm asking it. So I started asking myself, like, why? I think there's a lot of reasons. I think, one, we want to justify what we're doing. We want to justify the way we're living. Well, everybody else is doing it, so we can do it. And I think so many of us just want to be loved. We want to be accepted. And while that's not God's plan, if I can just hook up with one more person, this is going to be what it takes to like make me feel validated, that makes me feel cool, that makes me feel whatever. How many of you, oh, is the guy that played the cello in here? No. Okay, well, he was going to be my, oh, you are? Okay, good. Okay, this is not a sex question. It's a cello question, kind of. Okay, so, do you know, I'm so sorry, but it's good for you. It's going to grow you and make you a deeper spiritual person. Do you know, like, the most expensive violin ever was invented by who? Yes, Antonio Stradivari. He lived in the late early 1700s, and he made this amazing violin. No one has been able to replicate what he created. He took wood and resin and strings and whatever else you used, glue, to make this incredible instrument. And when people played it, they said it was like out of this world experience. Let's say that someone gave me one of those Stradivarius as a gift. Granted, they go for millions of dollars, so I don't see that coming. But if you have one and want to give it to me, like, that's good. Okay, now imagine I came today with a Stradivarius, and I like wore my little cloth gloves so I wouldn't damage it all, and I was like, who wants to see it? And you were like, me. Say, me. Okay, right? And I just tossed it to you. And then I'm like, yeah, just pass it around. When you're done, set it in the back. Your sexuality is so much more fragile and so much more beautiful than that. Don't just toss it around. Don't just pass it around. Don't just treat it with disrespect. Treat it as the gift that God made it to be. So God made sex. I'm going to give you an old person word as an example of intimacy. When I hear the word intimacy, I think old person. I don't know why. I feel like old people use that word. Like, oh, they're intimate. I don't know. Well, or like me. Yeah, right? It is like a parent word. Okay, but if you know me, you know I love words, and I love the meaning of words. The word intimacy means to know and be fully known. Like, that's the goal. Like, when you're intimate with somebody, you want to know them and you want them to fully know you. You don't want it to be some one night quickie or whatever. You want intimacy. That's God's plan. Last time I spoke, a whole month ago, we talked about how God took just worthless dust. He breathed into it and created man. Then he took man and created woman. And then he created sex. And he didn't just create it so there'd be more of us, which is a good thing, because if there weren't, then there wouldn't be. But he created it to reflect a relationship he wants to have with us. A full-on, passionate, fearless, know me as I am, no fear of comparison, no fear of criticism, a coming together that will be like nothing else. It's fragile and it's powerful, and God gave it to the human race as a gift. Take care of it. Treat it with respect. According to the CDC in a 2022 report, what is the average age in America that people lose their virginity? Like, just throw out a number. What do you think the average age is? 17. I thought that surprised me. 17. Okay. So it's 17. Yeah, 17. I know, right? I thought it would be younger too, but you have, so you have some that are definitely younger. You have some that are, what? Okay, yeah. Well, I know, but again, this is across the whole country. Okay, here's a question. Of the 17%, are more of them females or males? What do you think? You can't say both. All right, which? Okay, I know, right? Exactly, it's females. It's females, more, not much more, 53 to 48. So it's close. But, yeah, but it still surprised me. I don't know why it surprised me, but it just did. So clearly, as we know, some are definitely younger than 17, and some are definitely older, and some are much older. And let's say that you're one of those that has, let's say, brought the median age down a little bit. I am not here to judge you. That's not my job. And you know what? With God, there's grace. The Bible teaches us there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Let today be the day you say, I'm going to start again. Let today be the day, from this day forward, I'm going to wait until marriage. Is it easy? Oh, no. Is it possible? Yeah, it is. So how do you get through high school? How do you get through college age? And wait. First idea, decide ahead of time how far you're going to let things go. Decide ahead of time. The back seat of the car is not the time to say, now I think I'm going to figure out how far I'm going to let this go. You've already let it go. Decide ahead of time, and then talk to your partner and tell them, here's my decision. And if they're like, oh, heck no, maybe they're not the person for you. Avoid alcohol and drugs. Anything that puts down your inhibitions, let's say. If you're in my small group, we talk about drinking leads to sex. It just does. It's all throughout the Bible. Noah got drunk. That's that, all through the Bible. Drugs, alcohol, and sex go together. You know what else leads to sex? Porn. I know that shocks you. Porn leads to sex. You have a problem with porn? Talk to somebody about it. Holy cow, Nate's always talking about he struggled with it from the podium. Talk to him. Talk to one of us. Again, we can hook you up with a counselor for free. But porn is more than just stuff you watch on TV. right? It's on the radio, it's on the television, it's on social media, it's in books. I don't know how many of you have heard of the book 50 Shades of Grey or the movie 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, that's like porn in a book, basically. As of 2017, how many copies, again, this is as of 2017, how many copies do you think have been sold? Higher. How many? Higher than 50 million. More than 70 million. 150 billion. No, million. 150 million copies. Do you know? It has been translated into over 52 languages. In the United Kingdom, it has set the record for the paperback book that sold the fastest of all time. Unbelievable. We fill our minds with sex, and it makes it a lot more difficult not to have sex. So why are these books, these movies so popular? People flock to them. People go to them. I think a lot of people are looking for satisfaction. They're looking for entertainment. They're looking to escape reality. You can get lost in this little sex world for a while, and you can forget all the stuff you're going through. There are other ways to forget all the stuff you're going through. That's not God's best plan for you. Okay, so the next two ideas I got off Google, and I had to share them because I think they're absolutely hilarious. And who knows, maybe it will help you. This one was, if you feel like you're going to go too far, redirect your passion. Go help in a homeless shelter. Like, can you see you're like all getting hot and bothered, and you're like, oh, wait, I'm sorry, I've got to go feed the homeless. Like, I don't know, I found that really fun. I laughed a long time over that. What I'm hoping, I'm going to like extrapolate from this. What I'm hoping they mean by this is be involved in a lot of different activities. If you spend all your time with your boyfriend or your girlfriend and nothing else, eventually you're like, oh, I know what we could do. But if you're like diversified and involved in all different kinds of things, you have more options to be around other people and not do that. Okay, and this one, I almost made a handout for this one. I'm not even kidding, but I didn't. Look at Jamie's face. She's like, no, it's really funny. Okay, so make yourself a bookmark or a list of pictures or words of unsexy topics like outdoor views, underwater scenes, sports bloopers, chess moves, or puppies. So I was going to make all of you a bookmark that had pictures of like a chessboard and a fish and a puppy. And then when Jamie and I or Tina or somebody, we saw you with your little bookmark and be like, yeah, you go. That's right. You look at that bookmark. I think that would have been funny, but I didn't. Again, you know what? Look, if that works for you, you go make all the little bookmarks you need to make with your little chess moves and your puppies. What I'm hoping they mean is don't spend all your time thinking about sex. Like, we're going to go with that's what they probably mean other than the puppy bookmark. Do other stuff. Hang out with friends. And that's the next thing. Have good friends who will support your sexual decisions. I know you talk to your friends about sex, but you don't have to just talk about who you had sex with. You can also talk about, I'm waiting to have sex. I really want to have sex. Help me not have sex. Like, it's okay to like talk to your friends about it. Prayer. I don't necessarily mean in the moment. What I'm talking about is having a relationship with God, praying continually and talking to Him. Not just a like one-time thing, but having an ongoing relationship with God and with godly people helps us make good and godly decisions. It makes a difference. Okay, so I'm required to ask this. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, good. I mean, of course, you can literally, I can pretty much guarantee you there's nothing I haven't heard. And if you want to talk to me or your small group leaders or something, the stories I could tell you. But I won't. But I'll listen. I will always listen, and I will never judge. And I think I can say that for all our small group leaders, that's one of the reasons we do what we do, is because we love you guys. And if you're have a problem with this or getting hung up on this or can't get over this, come talk to us. That's what we're here for. Okay, so your takeaways. God has created us to need, want, and desire sex. The church may tell you like, oh, we can't talk about sex. It's a bad thing. No, sex is a great thing. in God's way. Use sex as God intended. A big one, sex is more than just a physical act. Y'all, it is more than just a physical act. Don't treat it as just a physical act. But your final takeaway, you are more valuable to God than anything else. He has a perfect plan for your life. Talk to him. Spend time in his word. Reach out to others if you need help. Yeah. Seriously, reach out if you need help. See, that wasn't so bad, was it? You all survived. You all survived. That wasn't so bad. All right. Before we go, I want to pray one more time. Lord God, thank you for sex. Thank you that we can talk about it in church. Help us to not be afraid to talk about it in church, to talk about it with other Christians. Thank you that you designed it with a plan and a purpose, and help us to treat it as a gift from you and use it as you planned and as you proposed. I pray as we go into our missions meetings that we focus on you. I pray for the people in Alaska that we're going to meet, that right now, even now, you're preparing them for us. Prepare them, God, because we're coming. And I pray that we make a difference in their lives, that we help them see Christ in us, that we reflect you so brightly that the darkness has to flee. I pray your blessings over, under, around, and through every single person here, Lord God. It's in your Son's precious name I pray.